Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of our new Minecraft series. In this series, I'm going to be teaching you guys start to finish how to make your own Minecraft faction server, and as well as that, we're going to be kind of following the progress of my new server called Goon PvP. Now, at the time that this video goes live, Goon PvP is not going to be available for public use yet, but what I am going to do is try to give you guys an idea of what it really takes to start a Minecraft faction server, and a couple of the things that I've learned along the way of coding for Goon PvP, and hopefully be able to pass all of that on to you guys. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get out of this for now, and I'm going to go ahead and open up here our internet browser. So for this series, I am using a website called MC Pro Hosting. This is the same kind of website that Hypixel uses for all of their stuff, so you know it's gonna be good. I'm gonna block out the server address and things like that. Anything that could potentially be used against me. Okay. So let's go into plans here, and I'll show you guys kind of what they do to get started. Alright. So you can choose between Minecraft PC, Pocket Edition, or Dedicated. Pocket Edition is pretty self-explanatory. Not really sure what Dedicated means, but we are going for the Minecraft PC for this one. So, basically, yeah, this is going to cost you some money. If you want a tutorial on how to do this for free, you are going to find it here, because I've never seen one of those servers actually work into being anything good. But basically, here's the plans. So this is the amount of kind of memory that your server is going to have, and then this is the amount of players that are recommended for that server. Now, technically, you can have as many players as you want on the server, but these are kind of like really strong recommendations, and you probably shouldn't go above them. The reason for that is because whenever you kind of reserve this server slot, it's going to kind of cap your bandwidth at a certain amount, and if you have too many people trying to connect to the server, it's going to be really, really laggy and really uncomfortable for everybody involved. So, I went ahead and went with the Iron plan. I'm guessing that there's probably going to be around 40 active players on the server, probably more like 30, and a couple slots for some extra people. It's like 20 bucks a month. It's really not that bad, especially if you incorporate Buycraft into your server, so that you can potentially make some money back off of donations for the server store and everything like that. And of course, Buycraft is free. This is the only part of the actual process that will cost you any money if you're willing to put the work into the other parts to do it yourself. So there are like potential upcharges, right? So if you don't know how to code in Bucket, you're probably going to have to pay somebody to code any custom plugins that you want, but you can learn how to code in Bucket pretty easily. I've been trying to learn that over the last couple of days, or weeks really, myself. So here are all the different options. There's the Dragon plan, which I guess is the highest. It's 6 gigs worth of space, and it recommends like unlimited players. So you basically have as much bandwidth as you need. I'm sure that this is something that like the people at Hypixel or whatever probably use. So it's all priced pretty fairly. This is all pretty competitive. I did a lot of research on my own as far as what I should use for my hosting site. Everybody seemed to agree that this was good, but no matter where you go, you're going to have people saying that it's the worst thing ever. So I tried to make as fair of a decision as possible, and I found that MC Pro Hosting was kind of good across the board. There's some that are really, really good at certain things, but they kind of lack in other departments. This one is just an across-the-board good plan, so I definitely recommend using MC Pro Hosting if you're going into this, and in fact, you might almost need to if you're going to follow this tutorial, but I'm sure a lot of the stuff is the same. Alright. So, once you've kind of gone through that and you've decided what plan you're going to have, the server's going to do its kind of configuration type stuff. Takes about 10 minutes. It's really not a big deal, but then you'll be ready to go. As far as the server type is concerned, you can see that I'm using Spigot version 1.7.10. The reason for that is most people are used to playing factions on one of the 1.7 modules, not one of the 1.8 modules. And that's because with the introduction of Minecraft 1.8, not only did PvP get like kind of worse, but so did cannoning, and it added some stuff in that conflicts with a lot of the mods that people like. Overall, I would say that at the time this video is going live, if you're making a faction server, you should probably go with 1.7.10. Now, you might be wondering, what's Spigot mean and how is that any different? From what I've seen, Spigot and Bucket are pretty much identical across the board. Like, I use all Bucket plugins and they all work perfectly with Spigot, but whenever I started this, it was a 1.8 server that I later changed to a 1.7 server, and 1.8 I was using Craft Bucket, which is like a cracked version of Bucket, and you've got to like compile a bash file and everything like that. It was super complicated, but what you can basically do is go to change server type at any point and choose from all of these things. So you can use standard Minecraft, one of the snapshots, you can use Bucket, you can use Feed the Beast, and any of these, Technic and Tekkit, and, you know, all kinds of stuff. But what you'll be looking for to have a 1.7.10 thing is Bucket, and then you'll want to do version 1.7.10 if you can. Either one of these, I think. I'm not sure what the difference is here. You might have to do that research yourself. I'm just using the 1.7.10, not the R version of it, because I didn't know what it was. So I figured I was safer going off of this. So that's why I'm using this. I'm not saying that you have to use this to have a successful faction server, but what I am saying is that you're probably better off using this. It's what people are used to, and it's ultimately going to make your kind of server experience a little bit more enjoyable. Don't worry, people can still play your server from the 1.8 client. It's not going to matter. But as far as like the in-game mechanics are concerned, you're probably going to want 1.7.10. I hope I did a good enough job at explaining that. All right. So once you have all of that set up, you're going to be able to choose, if you go through MC Pro Hosting, a subdomain. Mine's goonpvp.mcph.co. That way players can just connect to this address. It's kind of the difference between connecting to 1.68.72.33-5 or connecting to goonpvp.mcph.co. You know what I mean? It's a lot simpler if somebody has like words to connect to instead of numbers. So you'll definitely want to take advantage of the subdomain thing, and you can even go a little bit further and buy an actual domain name and run everything through there. I'm not sure how you do that, but I'm sure if you Google it, you'd be able to find that quite easy. Speaking of Google, I have found in creating this server that like my biggest asset is between Google and YouTube. Like, so many people have created faction servers that you can take to like a lot of different websites to find answers to what you're looking for. In fact, the Bucket website here is one of like the best resources for a lot of different things. So like if you have any questions about coding a plugin, or if you want to request a plugin to be made and things like that, this website is invaluable. And this also contains virtually every single plugin that you are going to be using on your server. Speaking of plugins, I should explain this a little bit further. A plugin is like a mod, right? So if you have played on Cosmic PvP before, or we'll use Treasure Wars as an example since there's a series on my YouTube. The ability to create a faction is a plugin called Factions. The ability to have in-game money is a plugin called Vault. The treasure wash-up events are a custom plugin. The custom enchants are a custom enchantment plugin. Every aspect of the game that is not vanilla Minecraft is part of a plugin. And there are a couple that you absolutely need to have a faction server. So obviously you absolutely need to have the Factions plugin, otherwise it's not a true faction server. You also need something called Essentials. That's what gives players the ability to /fly, /heal, /feed, and you also need something called Massive Craft. Massive Craft is basically more an administrator type thing, but if you can imagine, all of these plugins are using certain commands within their plugins, and there needs to be a library so that the server knows what those commands do. That's what Massive Craft is. So, for example, if the Factions plugin reads, oh, okay, so-and-so's claiming land, player.claimland.to, right? Your server's going to see that and go, I don't know what claiming land is, deny. But with Massive Craft, it has that extra step of player.claimland.to, and then Massive Craft says, hey server, that's what this means. And then the server goes, oh, okay, the player can claim the land. So that's why you need that one. Those are the three core plugins that you're absolutely going to need no matter what, okay, to have a faction server. But there are a couple of other ones that you will probably want to have. So what what I'm going to do here is under my console, I'm going to go to get plugins. This is one of the things that I think is awesome about MC Pro hosting. So like, if I wanted any plugin, I can basically search for it right here, or I can search by description. So let's just say the No TNT plugin here. I can click on it, I can go to the plugins page and read all about it, and then I can just easily install it. It's one click and it's installed on my server. Obviously, you've got to restart your server for the plugin to have any effect, but that's really cool. Also, you have a currently installed list. This is something that I found that's a little bit buggy about MC Pro hosting. So like, some of these plugins aren't actually installed on my server. Like, I had them installed and then I wiped everything, and now this page hasn't updated. This is the biggest bug that I found in MC Pro hosting, and it really doesn't matter so much because you can always in-game, if I come back here, I can always in-game, if I come back here, go ahead and type /plugins, and it'll give me a list of all the plugins that I currently have installed. So let's go over these while we're in-game. Group Manager is what allows you to have different groups with different permission sets. So for example, on Treasure Wars, we had ranks, right? So I had the God rank, which is the highest rank, which allowed me to use /fly, /fix, /feed. And what Group Manager does is it allows you to have those different permission sets. So if you want to only have the God rank on your server be able to fly, Group Manager allows you to take that fly thing and say only this permission set can use it. And all higher permission sets inherit this permission set, if that makes any sense. So it's kind of like a ladder, where the very bottom of the ladder has access to a few commands, then the middle has access to those commands plus this one, and then these ones plus this one, all the way up until you're at the like until you're at the admin /owner level. So Group Manager is what's going to allow you to have different permissions as far as that's concerned. Now, there is some debate on this. There is Group Manager and there's something called PEX. I think it's player expressions or something like that. I'll put that, or maybe permission expressions. I'll put that up on the screen now because I'll look that up after I'm done making the video. But you'll probably want one of those two between Group Manager and PEX. I personally used Group Manager because when I was watching tutorials about how to do that, that was what was suggested. So I don't think that it ultimately matters too much, but you're going to want one of the two. World Edit is a really simple tool. If you don't know what it is, check it out. It's kind of like an admin tool. It's one of the things that I use to build this massive building behind me, and it allows you to build like really huge things in like not a lot of time at all. So that's something that you're going to want for sure. Auto Broadcaster is this Goon memo. Subscribe to youtube.com/Timberlake41 for an awesome series. That's what is going to put that up every 5 minutes. Uber Enchant, you don't necessarily need. That's something that I just have for mine, so I'm not going to go over it. Massive Core, we've already talked about. XP Withdraw is what allows you to withdraw experience into bottles, kind of like we were used to with XP Orbs on Treasure Wars, or the XP Bottle command on Cosmic. Every server tends to have one of these, and it's really customizable, which I like. Obby Destructor is an important one if you're going to want raiding to be an aspect on your server. Obby Destructor is what allows TNT to take damage and then eventually break. So if you want TNT to take 10 shots to destroy, or I'm sorry, if you want Obby to take 10 shots to destroy, you're going to be able to set it up that way. It's what allows that to happen instead of just being undestructible by default. That's really good. Dispenser tools allow /fill. So if you've ever built a big cannon before and you wanted to fill up all the dispensers all at once, well, there's a command to do it. Vault is what allows you to have an economy. That's what allows /bal to work. And Vault kind of deals with a lot of these other plugins as well. You're pretty much gonna want to have Vault, like, no matter what. Vault interacts with, like, everything. It's super great. It's awesome. MCMMO, if you don't know what that is, where have you been living? It's used on every faction server ever, pretty much. I can't even explain this one. It's so in-depth. You'll just have to look it up for yourself. I'm sure there's thousands of YouTube videos on MCMMO alone. Basically, it gives you stats. That's all I'm going to say. World Guard is what allows you to have certain zones on your map completely incapable of being griefed. So if you're used to the treasure war spawn points, like the war zones or whatever, they can't be griefed because they're being protected by World Guard, or the Cosmic or the Archon or anything like that. They all have World Guard, which prevents their kind of areas that they don't want griefed from being griefed. Item linker. This is what allows you to do this item command in-game, to be able to item something and for everybody to see it. So it's showing up as invalid item because this is technically a wand for world edit, which I'm not going to get into. But yeah, it's what allows people to kind of hover over it and see what item it is, everything like that. Essentials, you're absolutely going to need, and Essentials comes with like Essentials Protect, Essentials Spawn, Essentials Chat, and Essentials Anti-Build. So you'll just need to install Essentials, and it'll give you all 4 of these, so don't worry about it. But you need Essentials. That's what lets you do /fly. That's what allows you to do /feed if I wasn't in creative right now. You need Essentials. You definitely need it. Get it. Custom Enchantments. This is a custom Enchantments plugin. So I'm not going to get into this too much, but I will be showing you guys how to code some simple bucket plugins in later videos. Okay. Essential Spawn comes with it. Compat No Cheat Plus. I haven't got this figured out yet, so you might not want to get this one, but some of the no-cheat plugins really conflict with, like, Essentials and Factions and stuff. I'll keep you guys updated when I find out which, like, no-cheat plugin works best for me. I might have to make one on my own, but I'm really not sure. That's currently not working on my server, so I'm going to have to find out what does. But that's that. Banknotes is what allows you to withdraw money, and Banknotes interacts with Vault in the way that you can withdraw currency from your balance and then right click on the note to be able to get it back. So right now a lot of servers have the /pay command disabled. I'm sure there's some exploit with that, so you probably at the time this video is going live are gonna want to have a version of this on your server. It doesn't have to be Banknotes, it's just what I'm using. In fact, I'm sure that there's probably better plugins to achieve the same result, but it's just the one I found and the one I have. And then of course Factions. That's what allows you to create a faction, to claim land, everything like that. But surprisingly, the most recent version of Factions has some stuff that, like, I'm really not used to. Like, I don't know why it has, like, relation enemy, relation truce, ally. Like, this isn't the screen that I'm used to seeing whenever I load this up. And in fact, the Factions plugin by default had like a Factions balance and like a Factions bank, and I had to go through the config and turn all of that off. So these are the plugins that I have currently. As I add more in, I'll keep you guys updated to what I'm adding and why, but I think if you have these things, you've got a completely playable Factions server. One of the things that you'll probably want to add in is a combat tagger. So for example, right now, you can just hit people while you're flying and it doesn't automatically drop you out of the air. And if you log off in combat, all your stuff doesn't drop on the ground. Those are all custom plugins, which I didn't expect. So we'll have to work on that. But I think with just these plugins, you could probably have a pretty nice little faction server going. And I know it seems like a lot, but you could probably just like take a screenshot of this right now and have a really good idea for what you need to do. And obviously the best way to learn this is by playtesting. What I've done since the beginning is I'll add in a new plugin to the server. I'll get on the server, I'll check it out, I'll check out the commands, everything like that, and get an idea for how it works. This is a huge learning experience. You've got to know what each of your plugins does and how to be able to interact with that. So let me show you kind of what I'm talking about as far as that's concerned here. Okay, so I've just come back to my control panel here to show you guys kind of what I mean as far as customizing plugins is concerned. Now, you'd probably think that you would have to have some sort of coding experience to be able to customize a plugin, but really you don't. And MC Pro Hosting has this really like integrated way that you can customize all your plugins, which I find really, really cool. So what we're going to do here is we're pretty much done on this page after the server's set up. This is how you'll, restart, stop, and start your server, obviously. But right now, we're kind of good on that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come to Files here, and I'm going to come to Config Files. And MC Pro Hosting automatically recognizes most configuration files for plugins. It doesn't get all of them, but it gets most of them. So for example, if I wanted to customize my Factions plugin, which is something that I did do, I would search for it over here, and what I'm doing is everything starts with plugins, so I'm just kind of searching for factions here, and I'm seeing that I can't find it. So now I remember that the factions plugin config file is somewhere else. Keep in mind, most of them will be here, some of them will not be here. And in fact, I had to Google where the factions config file actually was just to find it. So what I'm going to do is click back, I'm going to go to Files, and I'm going to go to FTP File Access. I don't know what FTP stands for, but this is basically all the files that are on your server that make it run. So I remember that this is an mstore for some reason, and it's factions _ mconf. So I'm going to click on this and click on instance.json, and boom, it opens up. Now, whenever I did this earlier, I had a screen side by side that showed me what each of these things mean, and this is available on the plugin page for factions, and it kind of goes like kind of base by base onto what all of these do. So this is what allows you to have negative power. By default, this is set to 0. I set it to -10. And I scrolled all the way down, or at least part of the way down, and I saw where it said econ enabled. So economy enabled. And that's what was giving, like, you know, the buy, sell, conquer, pillage, all this weird stuff that I wasn't used to seeing. So I went ahead and just set that to false, because I wasn't used to seeing it on all the faction servers that I played on before, so I was a little bit worried that that might mean that it's exploitable. Otherwise, why wouldn't they have it? It seems like cool stuff. So I went ahead and just got rid of it. I set it to false, and now whenever we look in our game, we don't have any of those options. So whenever you're done editing, just be sure to click Save File, and then if you have changed something, you'll need to come back to your control panel and restart your server. So to give you guys an example, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to show you guys a really quick and easy way that you can experience this. So I'm going to go to Files, and I'm going to go to Config Files here, and then I am going to go to messages.txt. So I can see that this is for the auto broadcaster, and this is for messages. Now, let me just open up the config for the auto broadcaster here, and we can see that everything with the hashtag in front of it here is like, it's notes from the developer. So this is just saying, like, you know, oh, who's the announcer going to be? And then it's going to actually show you the code right underneath of that. So I know that this is saying, who's the announcer going to be? And then I'm saying, oh, okay, well, I want the announcer's name to be Goon Memo for mine. By default, it's set to auto broadcaster like this, but I changed it to Goon Memo to make my server a little bit more customizable. By default, the interval's set to 60 seconds. But whenever I was playtesting the server, all I ever saw were like advertisements for my channel, so I decided to change that to 5 minutes. Those are really easy things that you can change, and just to give you guys an example of how this works, I'm going to go into here. This is the messages.txt, and by default this is blank. So all I did was I added in the color code here, and then the message, and then the color code, yada yada yada. So what I'll do is I'll add in another message here, which will say, let's see here, hello, Goons, I hope you enjoy your new server, thanks, and then leader of 11-year-old army. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save that. Alright, so this was the biggest mistake that I made when I was starting. Let me show you on the server here. So I do that, and then I would come on over to my server, and I'd say, oh, okay, I can't wait for my new message to come up. And then I'd say, wait, it's not coming up. Okay, I know /AB is for auto broadcaster. Oh, okay, I need to reload my auto broadcaster. And then, it's not there. What the fudge is going on? Well, anytime you make a change, you've got to restart your Minecraft server. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come back. I'm going to go to my server here, and I'm going to go to restart. And so this will automatically restart your server. And in fact, if I open up my Minecraft again, we can see that the server has been closed. I think you could probably change this message. I haven't found a way to do it yet. But I'll go back to title screen, I'll refresh, and okay, it seems like it might be back up. So I'll go ahead and click on it, and let's see if it works. The great thing about using one of these websites like MC Pro Hosting, or maybe some of the other ones as well, is that you pretty much constantly have uptime. Like, you don't have to worry about the server going down or anything like that. They handle all of that, so it's really, really, really helpful to have that sort of thing. Okay, so now if I go to /AB reload, I can see, well, hopefully I'd be able to see my new message. Okay, troubleshooting time. This is a learning experience, guys. Alright. So maybe Auto Broadcaster can only do one broadcast. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Let's go back to config files, and let's just double check that the message actually saved in here. And it did as well. Okay, well, let's go into the config file for Auto Broadcaster and see if the developer has left us any tips. So this is config.yml, and this is for Auto Broadcaster. So I'll click on this, and let's see. Okay, debug? No, because I don't know what that means. Who's the announcer? We have the announcer, right? We have the intervals, right? Should it be sent to the console? We probably don't need that. Okay, and then all of this is just kind of about the thingy. So how would I make a new line? Maybe Auto Broadcaster can only do one line, but I don't think that that's true. So I'm going to use my favorite tool, Google, and go how to make Auto Broadcaster display multiple messages. Alright, let's see if we can find it. Alright, well, here's the official Auto Broadcaster bucket plugin. Let's see if we can figure it out here. And the message here. And here's all the color codes. And here's commands. Well, that's broadcast. BC. Is this the Auto Broadcaster I have? I'm sure it is. Oh, new line. How does he do this? That's what I want to know. Here's the config. So, next line by this little thing. Okay. Goes through my messages only once. So right now I'm reading through the comments. Alright, let's see if we can use the #N to make it work. Alright, let's try it. So we found that #N thing. Let's go to back to the messages here. So I'll click back to get back to here, and I'll go to messages, and then I'll go #N to let it recognize that that's a new line. And maybe I won't actually do that. Maybe I'll do like this. And let's see if this works. So without starting a new line, let's try that. Okay, alright, perfect. Let's try saving. And then we'll also try restarting our server. So, restart. And this should have kicked me out of Minecraft, which it has. Let me go ahead and bring that up. We'll go back to title screen, and we'll wait for our server to go ahead and restart here. Alright, perfect. So I'll click play, and I'll wait for this to log in. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Downloading terrain. Downloading your butt. I wonder if we can change it to say downloading your butt. That'd be funny. Okay, alright. Let's try now, /AB space reload. Kerblamo! Look! Okay, well, the #N thing didn't work, and we aren't making it say more than one message, but we have successfully changed it. I'm sure if we screw around with this enough, we could probably find a way to make it start a new line and everything. But we'll go ahead and take that out for now. Anyway, guys, so I hope you guys have an idea of how you're going to start out your Minecraft Factions server. I'm going to be posting a couple videos in this series about, like, the kind of things that I find out about it, the things that happen that I found funny. I already have 2 episodes recorded, which will explain this big structure that you see in the background here. But I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you did, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a whole heck of a lot. You can also check out my live streams. I stream almost every day at www.twitch.tv/Timalik. Be sure to check out our video sponsors, chess.com, with over 13 million registered users. This is the best gosh darn website out there to play, learn, and dominate at the game of chess. And also Moxie.com, MMOXIE.com. Launching in April will be a geek and gamer haven dedicated to accessories and apparel, and they'll be making a lot of GoonSquad stuff so that you all can decorate yourselves with my garments. My name's Timalik. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you all next time. See you guys!